Hi, this is Donda at DG Recruit. I wanted to share with you a few personal lessons I learned in recruiting that I wanted to share with you about my journey as a headhunter, entrepreneur, and investor. When I started out my career in recruiting, I would say I was very immature as a person, and in many ways I still am. I think a lot of people who get into this career are a bit, sort of wacky. This is like not a normal career, right? Especially if you end up becoming really succeeding at it. There's something really deep about this career that absorbs us, that gets us excited. And while we say that it's about money and it's about achievement, there's obviously something else there that drives us. And for me, that was external validation. Everything that I do, even nowadays, so much of it is reliant upon what other people think and earning other people's respect and one-upping somebody else and beating them at X, Y, and Z. And while that's a really great way to start your recruiting career, as in being very competitive and aggressive, at the end of the day, as you get older, you realize that that matters less. In fact, what's more important is, I guess, this first principle, which is you should never really compete with others. You should really just be focusing on yourself. For me, this was a foreign concept because I grew up in a very combative, competitive environment where I had the classic tiger mom. And from a very young age, my cousin and I, who grew up in the same household, due to us being immigrants and being relatively strapped from a financial perspective, we grew up together being pitted against each other pretty much all the time, well into our adulthood, including today. And I think from that kind of experience, I learned early on the importance of external validation and always comparing myself to others and feeling this chip on my shoulder to prove myself. And to be honest, it's not very healthy because really you should focus on yourself and your own desires, not to just make other people happy. Another way that detrimentally impacted me from a success standpoint was that I always pegged myself to the next person in line for top biller. So every single year I was number one of the division, but I was maybe number two globally, right? Or I was the second rookie, not the top rookie, and I missed it by one deal, right? And these things were just because I kept pegging myself to that next person. So in a way, I was limiting myself the whole time, right? If I did not have that person limit me, whoever that person in line was, I probably would have felt even more. But I kept just comparing myself to that first horse in the race. So instead of being in my own category, well above the rest of the horses, I ended up pegging myself compared to others, and that became the focal point. And a lot of us are in work environments that is the case, and that could be good and that could also not be good. We also have managers who rely on us, kind of like the way my parents did, to pit us against each other. So I get it, right? At the time, there's not going to be, not everyone has a Merlin in their life who can come in and magic and support you and get you to a place where you really deserve to be. So I think all of us have to somehow reconcile our desire to impress and be validated, as well as serving ourselves better in a more healthy way. So I would say that that's the first principle, I think, a big lesson that I learned. Number two is that we need to start setting up processes to work smarter. So that is a big thing that I'm working on because I just work really hard. I'm just used to it. I'm used to like the manual labor. I grew up doing literally physical manual labor. So when it comes to work, I think I could be a lot smarter, and I'm not doing as much intelligent work as I could. In recruiting, there's so many aspects that could be innovated. And I think especially the larger companies, they haven't really innovated to this level yet. And hopefully some of them are on their way to do it. But there's so many different ways that you can slice and dice this pie and what needs to be done that I think it could be something worth thinking about, especially if you're an individual standalone business owner. think outside of the box, right? I have a friend who taught me a lot about business management, and it's all about delegating, right? And that's really important. I used to never like to delegate. Even today, I don't really enjoy delegating, but it's something that we're doing new here at DG Recruit. We're doing a lot of teamwork like we always do, but now in the next sort of 2021, we're really looking forward to push into an even more innovative way of running a recruiting desk. So stay tuned. A lot of really cool ideas and plans in mind for that. But again, like the number 2 is like, how can we work smarter, not necessarily work harder? Because again, in the way we're raised, in the way that our companies taught us, very much hard work is always the answer. More work, more work, more work, more work. But more work is not sustainable. There's gotta be a smarter, better way to do this. So this is where, again, I think there's some areas of improvement, another challenge that I'm working to adopt and address. Lastly, I do think that as recruiters, we are so used to dictating and presenting the information the way we want it that we sometimes forget how much learning we really need to engage in. Whether that's you running your desk in a known environment, whether it's you looking to increase your profits in your existing market, obviously you have to learn and do things differently, right? If we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, that might also be okay, because in recruiting, again, you do kind of reap what you sow, but there are better ways to do this. And again, learning and listening, you know, that again, for a lot of recruiters like myself, I don't really like listening. Listening is not a favorite hobby of mine, right? We're aggressive, we're know-it-alls, we think we're smarter than everyone, we think that we know best, we know our game, we know what we're working on. So I think, again, just having the humility to just take a step back and really listen to others, empathize with others, because listening is a subset of empathy, right? And we certainly, I would speak for myself, empathy is not something I was naturally gifted with. I grew up, again, in a very harsh home environment where I did not have a lot of empathy dished out to me by my primary caretaker, my mother. My secondary caretaker, my father, who was absentee for many, many years of my life, he gave me a lot of empathy, but obviously he was gone half the time, so I didn't really get to experience the way perhaps other folks have. And in a way, obviously it's helped me become a great recruiter, because I can just be very much selfish and focused and like do the tough things that nobody else wants to do, including leading my clients and leading my candidates. And a lot of them don't know what's going on or what's the best approach, and I'm able to be that guiding light for them. But at the same time, from a personal perspective, like empathy is something I need to personally continuously working on and being aware of, and that includes listening to others. I hope these 3 principles and challenges are going to help you in your recruitment journey. As always, do not hesitate to reach out to me, contact@dgrecruit.com. You can get in touch with my team and I. Obviously, we're keen to talk to all go-getter recruiters that are looking to take that next step and maximize your agency recruitment career.